Today we're here with David Baddiel, who's touring India and going to different schools in Delhi, NCR and Mumbai, signing books for his wonderful little fans. He's been telling wonderful stories to all the kids and they've been loving it. As we all know, David's known for his books and he's also a great comedian. We're celebrating 10 years of his first book, The Parent Agency, and right now we have him for a fun little chat. Hi David.
Hello.
Welcome to Delhi.
Thank you very much.
Have you been having a great time?
Yeah, it's been really good. I've been reading to schools and signing at bookstores, and the children have been lining up to get signed copies of my books and telling me what they think. And the response at schools when I've been doing like 400 children or whatever is really cool. It's great. I've been interacting with them and playing games with them and reading. There was one moment at one of the schools where when I came on they sang my football song.
Yes, I remember.
That was very nice indeed. So it's been really great, and I'm very glad I came.
So David, we have spent a great amount of time and we sort of know some things about you. There's a whole lot of world who wants to know a lot more about you, and to see what the world wants to know, we Googled some of the most asked questions about David Baddiel. So I'm going to put that out.
Oh dear, not the internet. Okay.
Okay, so the first question goes somewhat like, what are some fun facts about David Baddiel?
Some fun facts about me.
Yes.
Okay, I believe in my heart of hearts that I could have been a professional footballer. That isn't actually true. I mean, it's true that I believe it, but it's not true that I could have been, but I believe it nonetheless. I sometimes say, I could have been a professional footballer if I'd wanted to, and people say, but you did want to. And so that's one fun fact. About me. I don't know how fun this fact is, but I have glasses on at the moment. In fact, just a little bit of information for you. They were lost in a car, and we've had to hold up this whole shoot so that I can get the glasses back, because I don't feel that I look like me without the glasses, right? I always feel like, look, who's that? It's someone else, okay? But it's completely unnecessary because I can see you. I don't really even need these anymore because my eyes have gone weird as I go. I don't really have short-sightedness anymore, unless I'm reading very close up, and then I can't see. I can't see that at all. My own book. If I didn't know this by heart, I wouldn't be able to read it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Do you want to know any more fun facts about me? I am the only male member of my family who still has hair.
Oh, wonderful.
On my head, I mean. Shouldn't cut that. Anyway, my dad was bald when he was like 26. And I have two brothers, and they are both bald. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, exactly. Because I think, I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with being bald. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's better to have
It's
hair.
better to have hair.
Definitely,
Any day.
Definitely better to have hair.
Next is, can David Baddiel tell a joke? Well, he can. I mean, I know you can.
I can, but I actually normally tell funny stories rather than jokes per se. When I think of jokes, they tend to be old jokes or completely rude jokes that children who will be watching this shouldn't listen to. So like old jokes, I remember when I was a kid, there were comedians, like there was a guy called Tommy Cooper, who just used to tell jokes, and he used to tell the joke, he said, doctor jokes. And he said, doctor, I've broken my arm in 2 places, and the doctor says, well, don't go to those places. For example, that's the joke. There's a guy, I'm just going to tell you, because I don't like telling jokes of other people without saying who they are.
Yeah.
So there's a comedian called Dan Antopolsky in Britain who's mainly known for one joke, right? Which he says, hedgehogs, why can't they share the hedge?
That's a funny one.
That is a funny joke.
Yeah.
So there I am, I've told some jokes.
Next question. Does David Baddiel write his own books?
Yes. Who else would write them, to be honest? I have a thing, actually, which is that I don't write anything unless I feel it's entirely in my own voice. And obviously, you might say, well, everyone who writes in their own voice, but some people don't. They copy, even when they're writing themselves, they're sort of parodying or pastiching other people, but I don't. I try and write entirely, I like people to be able to pick up the books, and if they didn't know it was by me, they would think, oh, this is obviously by David Baddiel, because it's got a certain voice, a certain tone, certain style. So I try and write in that voice all the time. I can't imagine actually having a ghostwriter. For me, it would just be impossible because my writing's too personal. I know that does happen, but it's not something I could do. It would help. because I could write more
Yeah.
if I did have someone else writing for me. But I write quite a lot as it
Yeah.
is. So no, I do write all my own books.
Okay.
I write all my own books. I write all my own jokes, apart from that with those two I just did. I write all my own TV material. I wrote, because like some comedians don't write their own jokes, but I've never
Right.
had anyone help me write jokes.
People have teams.
Yeah.
Comedians especially, they have teams writing
Yeah.
jokes for them.
I know. I don't do any of that.
That's awesome. This is a funny one
Is it?
because we
I'll be
all
the judge of
because
that.
we all know the answer to that, but I
Okay.
don't know why Google's like it's being asked on Google.
Okay.
What is David Baddiel famous for?
Well, actually, it is a good question because I've done many different things.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pin it down. In Britain, I am famous for being a comedian,
Yeah.
but I am probably more famous for being the co-writer and singer of a song called Football's Coming Home. I in fact talk about this in my stand-up show. I talk about how when I die on the news, it will say David Baddiel, he was most famous for writing and singing the football song "Football's Coming Home," and I'm very proud of "Football's Coming Home."
Yeah.
But it isn't. I've done many more things, but that is probably the thing that I'm most famous for. In fact, all over the world,
Yeah.
people do know that song, whether or not they know that I co-wrote it. I recently did an American chat show, and they opened by playing Wembley Stadium, singing "Football's Coming Home," and I think they didn't really know it. But then after they played it, it was like that was all they wanted to ask about. And I'm here to talk about a book. Like, stop asking me about this song. So I'm probably most famous for that. But it depends who you are. Like for kids, I'm definitely most famous for these
Yes,
books. For men and women of my age in Britain, I'm most famous for
Comedy.
well, comedy, but specifically, I did a show in the 90s called The Mary Weiss Experience, and that involved sketch called History Today, which was two old professors who used to slag each other off like school children. That became a huge sketch, and then I played Wembley Arena, being the first comedian to play Wembley Arena. Now I am also famous in Britain because I talk a lot about anti-Semitism, and I wrote a book called Jews Don't Count, which has sold a lot of copies and changed the way that people talk about that subject.
Brilliant.
So I am known for many different things.
Too many hats.
Yeah, many hats. Yeah,
So this question wasn't funny after all. It was a good question.
yeah, it's a great question. Well done, Google.
Who's David Baddiel's favorite author?
My favourite grown-up adult author is a man who's no longer with us called John Updike, who was an American author, wrote in the 60s and 70s, only died fairly recently, but his great work was done in the 60s and 70s and the 80s. He's just a brilliant American writer. I also like quite a lot of sort of old Victorian writers, George Eliot in particular I like, and Jane Austen I like really a lot. I think they're
Classics.
amazing.
Yeah.
But those two particularly are really amazing writers, I think. Children's writing, actually when I was young, I didn't read much in the way of sort of classic children's writing. My mum, who was mad, bought me these books called Billy Bunter books, and they were from the 1920s, and they were written by a guy called Frank Richards, and they were probably what I read as a kid and thought of as children's writing. I didn't really read, Enid Blyton or even Roald Dahl or whatever. I read Billy Bunter, and so at the time that would have been my favourite writer. I don't know who is my favourite kids writer now. I like things about Roald Dahl, and there are things I don't like about Roald Dahl, but I do think he was very important in creating, the modern idea of what children's writing is.
Right.
So he has to be recognised for that.
So those were the Google's most asked questions.
Okay, I should have just said one thing instead of 17 things for every question.
That's
shouldn't I?
completely fine. The more the better.
Okay, good.
So that's a wrap for the Google's most asked questions, and we'll be coming back with more. Thank you.